All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. Today is February 2nd, 2024. My name is Bennett McDowell with both TradersCoach.com and AppliedRealityTrading.com. All right, good to see everybody. Markets had a good day for the most part yesterday, and today a little bit of a break, but not too bad. But overall, everything is kind of par, so to speak. I'm going to go through some administrational items, and then we'll go ahead and get started and look at the stocks you want to take a look at today. And okay, so the audio is good. Thank you, Gene. All right, and visual, good. That's always a good way to start it. And if you guys could just type in your stocks or ETFs in caps, that would be great. And if you want to let me know if you're long or if you're thinking about a trade, or maybe if it's in a short trade, you can indicate that as well, and we'll take a look. And usually by the end of the session, and they vary in time. Sometimes we're here for quite a while. It depends on the number of stocks. And I think what we're going to do is do what we did last week. So if you could type in no more than 3 at a time, 3 stock symbols at a time, that's great. And that way, everybody gets a chance to have their symbols looked at. But you can go back and type in another 3 later as well. So we're not trying to limit the number of symbols, but we are trying to keep the flow going. So that's the kind of deal behind that. All right, let me go through these administrational items. First thing I have to cover are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really do go hand in hand. But we do want you to be aware of the risks, and there's different kinds of risk in the market. I've addressed that in a few books I've written, and I'll show you those in just a moment. But you have to have a good risk control program implemented in your trading or even in your investing for that matter. Also, too, when we look at stocks today and I make a recommendation, please run those by your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure they're suitable for you. I don't know your personal situation, and of course, they do. And then finally, realize nothing is guaranteed. We work in a realm of probabilities. So past performance doesn't guarantee future performance, and can kind of keep that in mind as well. That's why we need risk control, right? All right, so they're my books that I have available. Traders Money Management System, published actually by Wiley. Wrote that back many years ago. Still one of the really great sellers out there on money management. Very in-depth view on risk control. My next book, called Money Management for Traders, on the far right, second from the right, came out in 2022. And what I did is I basically stripped down what you need to know to implement good risk control in your trading program right away. So it kind of gives you all the basic elements to get started immediately. So both those books are outstanding. Elliott Wave Techniques for those into the Elliott Wave, and my newest book, The Art of Trading, coming out this year. All right, we're going to be looking at charts with a variety of different software tools that we created out there. Some are already familiar with that, called The Art of Trading, Applied Reality Trading Software. We have the OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI indicators as well. We have scanning software, and we have risk control software too. All right, and then finally, if you would take a moment right now and give us a like, and also too, share us with your friends. The more people we get coming here, of course, the better, right? So the more people, more stocks we can look at. All right, let me just quickly, before I jump in, let's see, Al, you're our first one here. How you doing, Al? We'll jump on those in just a moment. All right, really quick, all right? What you're looking at here is the Ninja Trader charting platform with our software installed in it. And I have 3 charts up here. I have the 60-minute chart on the far left. That gives me a short-term view of whatever I'm looking at. So every price bar there is an hour or 60 minutes. The chart in the center is our daily chart, where every price bar represents a full day of activity. And that's kind of an intermediate or standard look at a market. And then the weekly chart on the far left is a long-term view, where every price bar represents a full week of trading activity. You have the OWL indicator down here measuring momentum, the PTF indicating whether we're going to have more highs or lows. We have the trend line master automatically tracking the trend for us, and the ERI indicator down here taking a look at fear and greed in the markets and telling us when the fear and greed is overblown. On the chart itself, we have our fractal pyramid trading points, taking a look at trend trading patterns taking into account momentum as well. And those give us our entries and our exits and trailing stops and initial stops. And then you'll see me draw fib extensions and retracements. We'll count the Elliott waves and so forth using those software tools. At the top here, we got our scanners. We won't be using those today, but the scanners is how we find stocks each and every week. And then finally, basically, I've got GBTC up, which is the ETF for Bitcoin. You know, we're very bullish on the cryptos. And Bitcoin may pull back a little bit more, but then surge higher. So Bitcoin looks still pretty good to us. You may want to wait until it pulls back a little further before jumping in if you're not in it already. If you're in it, hang tight with it. You should do really well over the course of this year. All right, Al, let's jump into yours. How about BNRX? Let's take a look at that bad boy. All right, so you're long. Okay, thinking about a long position. All right, so long question mark tells me you're not long, but you're thinking about a long position. Okay, so what Al did here, I'm going to open up this chart on the far right. This is the weekly chart. And so notice this stock over the course of many years has been working its way down. And I think Al is looking to see if he's got a bottom here for a possible move up now to the upside. All right, so this has reached pretty much an all-time low, at least darn close recently. And it looks like we may be slightly moving off the bottom. A little too early to tell, Al, on this chart. And we still have an active pyramid going against us. And we still have a bearish owl. So it's probably a little premature on this chart to know for sure if it's going to go up and start a new trend here. Let's take a look at the lower time frames. All right, so they're looking a little better here. All right, so we've got some green here, and it looks like we have no more active bearish pyramids to the bottom. Let's see what the high of that price there is. This is a fairly cheap stock, so the high is 119, and that pyramid here is 138. So even if you went long on this pyramid, you'd still be going against the long-term chart. So if you wanted to take an early entry when that pyramid turns green, you certainly could do that. I would cut the trade size a little bit until we get above the pyramids on the weekly chart. So let's put this on the watch list and see if we can get that pyramid on the chart in the center, the daily chart, turning green. In other words, getting confirmed. But I get it, okay? It looks like it could potentially be a pretty good one. All right, TRST, let's take a look at that one. All right, on this one here, not as bullish as the other one. All right, we've got an active pyramid even on the daily chart. We have one now on the 60. We have a red here. Well, it looks like it might have just turned yellow. Let me magnify that in. Yep, it's yellow now. All right, I don't like to go against the pyramids on those lower time frames. So I would say for now, no go on that one. But you can always bring it back when things start to bottom. All right, CCIF, let's take a look at that one. All right, so we've got some bottoming. Looks like it could be possible on the weekly chart. Not a lot of history. We got some move off the bottom here, and that looks pretty bullish. All right, so where is this bad boy going? That's the question. All right, it's one thing to say, okay, I might want to go long, but the other thing to answer is, where's my target, right? And this is a tough one because there's not a lot of history on this one, for one thing. So the best I could do on this is right about there. So 848 to 913, and we are at 802. I probably would pass on that, okay? Because you're going to meet some resistance in that level here. And I don't know if it's going to punch through or not. So tough to get an Elliott wave on this due to the lack of history, okay? I would pass on this one. All right, thank you. All right, let's keep going here. Jim, how are you doing? USO. Okay, USO is the ETF for crude oil. Let's see how that baby's doing. We're going to open up the weekly chart first, and I'm going to zoom in on this move off the bottom here. So we've looked at this before. You can tell that because I've got the target zones drawn in already. And we think crude oil is going up into this area here. So that would be around 99.87 to 125.5. We got a possible bottom here. At least we're hoping that's a bottom, because any long positions here are going to do well if that's a bottom and our stop's not closer than the bottom, obviously. All right. But if we go and make another low and take out that potential bottom, then the trade will fail and we will get stopped out. So at this particular point, we do have new this week an active pyramid sloping down. You can see it right here. Okay. You have red here, and we had a big move down this week. Okay. So got to pay attention to that. Now, we may have recommended this one obviously before. Okay. But the stop was low enough that it should survive any pullback. I'm not going to put anybody in it now. And the reason for this is we're still pulling back. So we've got red here, red pyramid. And so we may be coming down, if this bottom even holds here, to a double bottom before it goes back up. So let's put this on the watch list for next week and see if we can get some type of bottom established here, where the overall bottom still holds. And then if we see a reversal, we can start recommending that again. So if you're in it, have your stop low enough that you can survive this kind of pullback for a possible double bottom. That's USO. All right, COWZ. Let's take a look at that bad boy. All right, so this is moved up here. Don't know if you're long on this or not. I don't think I would go long here. Okay, it looks to me like, yeah, you might get one more little quick high, but the big move, I think, on this was way back years ago, and it's been consolidated for quite some time. So again, where's the target on this? That's the hard part. And we only go back to 2017 on the history. So that's kind of a tough situation on getting an accurate target, but we can try to get a target based on the current move. And you did have a correction there that was good enough. So that's good. All right. So let's try, see if we can get an extension up here. All right. So your possible target on this is $58.22 up to $69.40, and we're at $51.78. So you got possibly a little move left. You'd have to put your stop very tight in order to get the 2-to-1 even on the weekly chart. So and you got a red PTF here. So I'm not going to recommend that one. Okay, I think you can find a better one. All right, SCO. Let's take a look at that one. All right, so this one has been running along the bottom, recent low here, pulled back, and then started coming back down. We've got a red PTF there, red pyramid here, and let's see if we get some follow through on this one. Let's see if we break above here. Okay, so we want to get above that 22 mark here. Let me just see exactly what that is. So that high there is 22.39. So let's see if we can get to 22.40. Okay, on this. Then we may have a reason to go in, because that's a break above a key level of resistance. And therefore that will be probably above that pyramid on the weekly chart as well. So let's wait on that one. You can certainly put that one on a watch list for later on. All right. Thank you, Jim. All right. Let's keep going here. All right. Ray, how are you, Ray? All right. Coinbase, good one to look at. All right. So COIN is Coinbase, and Coinbase has really given us a great opportunity to get in it because of the fact that it's pulled back quite a bit after a big surge up. In fact, all the cryptos. If you remember when we looked at this one weeks ago, I was saying don't chase the market. And this is why, because look what happens. You can get a pullback, which is just an ordinary profit-taking pullback. But how annoying it would be if you went in around 170 to 180, and now we're sitting at 128, and you could go in there instead. So I always wait for a pullback before entering a market if I'm getting in late. If I'm getting in early, then I'll get in as soon as the breakout occurs. But if the market has already been trending like in the Bitcoins for quite some times, or Coinbase as well, you're better off waiting for the pullback. So in this case here, what I would do is probably give this a little bit more time. It looks like it's in the target, so that's a good thing. I'd like to see this green, the owl green. I'd like to see the owl green over here. We have green here and green here, so we certainly don't want to miss it, right? So at this particular point, let's put this one as one of the top ones on our watch list, because this one could turn around really soon, and so we don't want to miss it. All right, so let's bring it back and look next week. If you're in it and your stop is keeping you in it so far, you got to make sure your stop is under this area here. All right, so make sure your stop is well below the 115.57 mark at this point, just in case you get a little bit more of a deeper dive on this correction. But yeah, I'm liking it as soon as this correction is over, without a doubt. All right, Tesla. Let's take a look at Tesla here. All right, Tesla's been sliding down, and you can certainly see that on these charts. So I wouldn't, at this particular point, be long on this, okay? I would probably have, dump this stock. If you'd owned it, I would have recommended dumping it a while back. But if you're in it now, okay, you've got to be prepared to suffer more of a correction on this. Let's open up the long-term chart. So your stop's got to be under here, which is quite far, okay, for you to maybe survive this pullback. I do think if this is a 3 and this is a 4, that we could be going up to a 5 at some point, but we have a pretty nasty pullback. The other possibility here is a 3, 4, 5 and a change in trend. So this could be an ABC with a bottom here. Chances are this is a bottom. All right. So I don't think we'll go below that $100 mark, but I think we're still going down quite a bit. So it might have been best to have dumped it when it started to slide here. Or if you're going to keep this as a buy and hold, just have your stop low enough. All right. So do not buy it now. It's not done. Okay. That's Tesla. PINS. All right. This one's actually looking pretty good on most all time frames. So let's open up the weekly first. All right. So the question on this one, we only go back to what? 2019. So it hasn't been around that long. So where's the target? That's the question. Is this a major bottom and we're going to take off and make all-time highs? Or is this just going to go up to a level which is a retracement level and go back and forth for a couple of years? Hard to know, right? So that's my only problem with this. I can't get a very clear Elliott wave count on this. If anything, it almost kind of looks like the crypto market where it went way up and way down at this point. The only difference on the crypto markets is that the PTF, which is our indicator here, is indicating significant more highs above here. On this one, the only thing it's telling us is find the highest price in this area. And that's all the higher it's going to go. So there's not a lot of profit potential left here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 pyramids in a row there. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3 pyramids here. I probably would not go into this, okay? Just for the simple reason is you're chasing the market at this point, okay? Is it better to go in here or here? Here, right? Not here. All right, so wait for a pullback and then let's take a look at it again. You might have a better risk to reward at that point. Tough to get a risk to reward on that. But if you're long already, you can stay long. There's nothing wrong with that. I just wouldn't go into it right now. So put your stop right here. And I think you're long on this one, right? So put your stop right under that pyramid there. And that should protect you for as long as it can. And that is at 35. That low is 35. no, 36.52. So put your stop at 36.51. Okay. Thank you. All right. Al's back. All right. Long again on these. The question is, let's take a look at his first one, COEP. All right. Not quite yet. All right. So the reason no long on this is we have red PTF on the daily chart and we have pyramids to the downside on all three time frames. So that's a no-go. All right. BUSE. No as well. Red PTF here, red PTF here, indicating more lows are coming. So no longs on that. BW. I'll tell you, when you have tools that help you like this, it's pretty easy to make a quick assessment because they're all based on probabilities. All right, again, 3 red PTFs, not quite. Now, on something like BW, at least on this one, all right, we're sitting at all-time lows. Very cheap stock, though. You don't want to go in it now, not with 3 red PTFs, but maybe in a month or a couple months, it'll bottom. And then it could be a possibility, but not right now. All right. Thanks, Al. All right. Let's see what we got here. Ray's asking a question. Since February, March tend to be seasonally weak, what is the probability of a market correction? Well, I do think, Ray, overall, the markets, have run up quite a bit since October, right? I mean, almost any market we look at, it's run up. And look at today. We really haven't found any yet today. We put some on the watch list, but no winners yet. And so I think probably at this particular point, we're probably due for some pullback in the overall market. And so, it's kept inching a little higher over the last several weeks. But I think probably we could see a decent pullback at some point. At least that's what I'm forecasting. I do think the next pullback is not going to be a major change in trend yet. I think it's going to be a profit-taking pullback. And we could get as low in the markets as 35,000, maybe 34 if it gets extenuated. And then it should recover and make highs again. There is a target zone out there that I don't think is going to be reached until probably later this year. And at that particular point, when that target range is reached, which is above 40,000, then I think we have to be very careful because that's going to be a major, major top. And at that point, we could see a major correction. And when I say a major correction, I mean the market, especially the Dow, selling, and pretty much all the markets, selling off to a little bit below or to their COVID lows. So that's significant. All right. So I don't think we're quite there yet. I think it's out there. It may be at the end of 2024. If it gets delayed, it could be 2025, the beginning of. If we get to that target zone quicker than anticipated to the upside, then it could be sooner. But I think short term, to get back to your question, I wouldn't be surprised if in the February, March timeframe that we're in now, we probably should see some profit taking. But then after that, we should get another surge for it. Okay, thanks. Good question. All right, let's see what we got here. Hey, Bradley. All right. Oh, thank you. Okay, let me read his question. Okay, hello, love your books. First time on the call. Great to have you here. All right, BA entry. Okay, we'll take a look at that. GS, wave 5 entry, BLV. Let's take a look. All right, so BA. All right. So let me just open up the weekly chart first and see what we got cooking here. So we had a pretty significant move that ended back in 2019, okay? And then everything came down. So this stock wasn't by itself, right? But notice here, it's been kind of a roly-poly situation since for the last really 3 or 4 years, right? However, this bottom has held. So we went up, we came back down, and now we've kind of are inching our way back up. This is green, this is green. So we should see more highs above here. That's what that's saying. So this indicator here is called the PTF, right? Precision Trend Filter is what that stands for. And it's kind of a really cool indicator. It has a 75% probability of accuracy. Okay, so basically it's saying we should at some point return and take out the high where my line is up here, which represents the highest price in the PTF green color. The PTF does not, however, tell you when that's going to happen or if the market is going to sell off for a while before it returns back to the upside. So while it's pretty smart, it's not that smart. Okay. So you're in an area here where we should get above here, but we have to rely on other forms of analysis to ensure that the timing is right to go in to take advantage of what the PTF is telling us. So obviously here, we want to take advantage of a long trade because it's saying the bullishness should come back. The problem is on this chart here, we've had a move down. It's kind of going sideways over the last couple of weeks. So let's go to the lower time frames and see if there's any help on this. And for that, we can go to that first chart in the center, which is the normal daily chart. So here, even on this chart here, we're kind of in an area where we're going sideways. So we haven't broken out above this resistance level, right? This is still red. So the momentum has been kind of more on the bearish side. You don't have the definition of really a trend in place because this low here was lower than this. So it's not like you have higher lows and higher highs. So you really have almost like a pennant forming here, or at least a channel. So it's not quite ready to execute a trade on this yet. All right. And this is on the 60-minute chart on the left-hand side. We can see that channel in a little bit more detail, between here and here, right? Or the pennant, all right, for that matter. Okay, so, we'll see what happens with that. So I would just kind of keep an eye on it. But even if it breaks out, what the next question is, where is it going? What's the overall target? And that's kind of a tough thing to say on this one, all right? Because if this was an impulsive wave, this should have ended right around in here and then gone back up. So it actually changed here and went all the way down. And so maybe that's a 1, this is a 2, and maybe we're getting ready to go on to a 3, but it's too early to take a trade yet. So I would hold off on that, bring it back next week, and let's see if things change at all. All right, GS, Goldman Sachs, let's take a look at that one here. All right, and let's open up the weekly. You can tell we've looked at this one before. So what Goldman Sachs did do on the weekly chart is notice it went up here and pulled back to a fib correction zone, which I call a profit zone or a wave 4, right, on the impulsive wave. And now it's bounced out going above here. So that's bullish, all right? And notice these bottoms have held here. So that's a good sign. Where is it going? Well, maybe what we can do here is get a little bit better of an idea by drawing a fib extension on this. And the target looks to me like around 429 to 552. So that's kind of a big zone, isn't it? Okay, almost like quite a bit of points spread there. So this is the target for where it's probably going. So if prices are here, then where do you put your stop? Okay, so we'll have to go to the lower time frames for help on that. So that's the overall target. Now it's going to take a while to get there. Shouldn't take too long, but it should take a little bit of a while there. All right, so let's take a look and see what's going on down here. All right, so on this chart here, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 of our pyramids, okay? And one of the pyramids actually stopped you out here because the stops go under the bottoms of the pyramids. So you would have been stopped out. We're close to going red. So we may be, what the daily chart is doing is it's measuring the Elliott wave on this chart, which is this big move up over here. And so we're probably getting coming back into a pullback here before it goes back up. So I think probably what I would wait on this is wait for a more decent pullback. Now this is indicating we may see more highs, one more high before it pulls back. So that's kind of interesting. All right, so we may get back up to 395 before it goes into a pullback. So if that is enough of a trade for you, you can put your stop here, go long here, and exit here, that type of thing based off this indicator. So there's a variety of different trading models or opportunities you could take depending on if you want to scalp this or actually wait for a longer term position. If you're going to wait for a longer term position, I would wait for this market to finally top, pull back, and then pull the trigger here, and then you can hold it for a while. All right. So that's all a possibility. Excuse me. All right, let's take a look at BLV. BLV. All right, BLV. All right. So right away, regardless of Elliott wave, I can tell we got a red PTF over here indicating more low. So that's not a bottom. So the best we can, when we see something like that, the best we can hope for on a situation like this is to grab your fib retracements, draw them in from here to here. And our target on this is 79.97 to 90.13. And we're at 73. So you got about a 5-6 point possible lead in here for some profit. Okay. So here we've got green here. I know prices have gapped down a little bit, but that's still green. This is a little bit red over here. So I think you can find something better on this at some point, but I would probably at this point take a look and see if we get some type of bullish price bars to fill that gap before actually taking a trade. Okay. So I would hold off on that one. All right, Bradley, thank you. All right. So let's see who's next here. Okay. Al, we're back to BHRB. BHRB. Let's see what you got cooking on that. All right. Long. Okay, good. So you definitely got all the indicators at the bottom in your favor. Okay, no question about it. So let's take a look and open up the weekly chart. Okay, that's not a very pretty chart, is it? Excuse me. That is kind of a hooky looking chart to me. So based on that, where is the target on this? Kind of hard to tell Elliott wave wise, right? I mean, that's kind of messy at this particular point. This looks pretty impulsive over here. All right, came down, made one more high. He had bearish divergence. Boy, I'll tell you, that's a tough one. All right. So when I look at something like that, I usually run for the hills. All right. In other words, I'm not going to trade it on that time frame. Let's see if the lower time frames help us here. All right, so this is at least encouraging. That's a little bit more normal, so to speak. All right, but the best I can give you on this for a top is this indicator PTF showing me that I have a high of 67.54 and we're at 58. You'd have to put your stop down here, so you're not gonna have your 2-to-1 risk to reward. So no go on that one. Okay. And take a look at the 60-minute chart. If you want to trade the 60-minute chart, wait for a new trend to emerge and then get in early like you could have done over here, okay? I mean, the pyramids made that really easy to get in there. So, you know, this is kind of a messy chart long term, so you might want to trade the shorter time frames on that one. All right, let's take a look at ADC. All right, red PTF on the weekly. You've had a big move up. This is indicating more lows coming. Hold off on this one, okay? AES. All right, so this is not a buy and hold. We've got a red PTF on the weekly, but we have a green one here. So if you wanted to take a scalp trade on the weekly, on the daily chart, this is your target up here based off this. All right. So this is showing that the lower time frame should occur before this one. But once you break that high, you got to be careful for the big move down to satisfy the PTF on the weekly chart. So you do have a possibility there. The only thing here is that you want to make sure that this thing is done pulling back, and we have a dominant pyramid still on the 60-minute time frame you have a red owl here and a red owl here. So I think it's too early to go in. It may come down a little bit further. So I would wait on that one. All right, Alexander, how are you? SHAK, let's take a look at that one. All for long. Okay, so you're long on all these. Okay, so, all right, I would stay long. Okay, you've got a green PTF on the weekly chart. You've got a green PTF on the 60-minute chart. I don't know where you got in. So it's hard for me to know what time frame would be best for you. All right, but in any case, it looks like here, probably maybe 78, 78. Let's see what the high is here. Yeah, I'd say maybe 70, about 80 is probably the most juice you're going to get out on this run. Okay, I'd put your stop under here. All right, because you're due for a pullback. All right. And when this PTF turns yellow, which means it's neutral, you might want to dump it. Okay. All right, let's go on to your next one. DKNG. DKNG. Let's see what's cooking on that one. All right. So here's one where we looked at the retracement area, and then that was hit. And this one looked like a good buy here because you had the pyramid and the whole 9 yards. So being long here was good. You got to start thinking about exiting this trade pretty soon, though. Okay. Because if this is a 3, 4, 5, I would not just jump out, though. Let's see what happens with this. Let's see how powerful this move will be up and see if we get an owl that can breach the previous owl. But I don't think it's looking like it's going to do that. So it's probably due for a pullback. And we've had a nice run up really since 2022 on this, or 2023. So almost a year. So I would stay with it. Okay. I would put your stop at this particular point fairly low as long as the green PTF remains on the daily chart. Okay, because any pullback that you get, all right, should be met with more buying and new highs. And once you get above this high, then start zapping the trailing stops much closer. Okay. All right, gold. Let's take a look at gold. All right, so gold's kind of been an interesting trade for quite some time. All right, so if we go to the weekly chart here, we had a major wave 3 in 2011, right? Multi-year wave 4, and now this has been a wave 5. We've exceeded the wave 3 high. We have bearish divergence between the owl here and here, which you must have for wave 5. But you have a green PTF, so wave 5 is not over. So no matter what pullbacks or anything we experience in gold, as long as that PTF is green, it's showing more highs. And it's, it came down a little bit, rebounded, a little profit taking, and then now it's shooting back up. So we want to keep an eye on that PTF, especially on the weekly chart. And let's go down here and see, we've got yellow PTFs across the border here. So if you're long, I'd stay long. As soon as that PTF turns yellow here on the weekly chart, start getting that stop up close, okay? All right, Al, let's see, KO. All right, so what's going on with Coke here? Okay, so we've got a red PTF on the weekly chart. We got a red one on the 60-minute chart. And if you were long, you would have been stopped out already. So I don't see any reason to be long on this, okay? KDP, let's see what's going on with that. All right, so we got a red PTF on the weekly chart. We've got active bearish pyramids on the daily chart. We've got some consolidation going on the 60-minute chart. You can tell that by the blue colored unconfirmed pyramids here. One up, one down, marking the channel. All right, so no long position on that. Not quite ready yet. Take a look at CL. All right, so this is looking pretty bullish, but let's open up this chart here. All right, pretty messy chart, right? So you got to give this thing some latitude in stop loss placement if you're a long-term buy and holder on this baby, right? All right, messy chart. Okay, so you got to go to the lower time frames to more actively trade this. And the pyramids did a great job getting you in on both these low time frames, but right now it's a little too far along. So, you know, my belief system is all built on not chasing markets. Okay, so is this going to go higher? Yeah, looks like it is. Okay, according to these time frames. But is it better to get in here or here? Because if you get in here, yeah, it could go up another 5 points, but you got to be darn good at getting out right at the top, because then what it could happen is you could get a correction and get stopped out at a loss on a trade that looked pretty good at the time you went in by chasing this market. So I wouldn't chase it at this point. I would wait for the pullback, and it looks like it's going to make another high. And, you know, in terms of, is there a trade possibility on the 60-minute for a scalp trade? Not yet. Okay. So on this one here, again, I would not chase that market. That's my belief system. All right. Some people like chasing markets. That's great. But I don't know how you could do the risk to reward on that based on such a short possible target for that one. All right. That's CL. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, Frank saying suggestion, place the name under the stock request and not on top. I can't do that. That's controlled by the software that we use to do this presentation, Frank. So unfortunately. And it's not YouTube, it's actually the software called StreamYard that we use. All right, let's go to Jim Blue. All right, let's do XLC. All right. So, Jim, I'm not sure if you're long on this one or not. But again, just like on some of those others, you know, you're chasing the market here. Okay, I would wait for a pullback. And, you know, if you get a pullback, just kind of like what we do in the day trading room, wait for that pullback. And then if there's enough profit for the next leg up, take it. Okay. All right, let's take a look at XLI. So I think it's going higher. Okay, I do think it's going higher, but I don't see a trade for us based on these levels. All right, let's see about this one. Okay, yellow PTFs, those are neutral when they're yellow. This is kind of almost very similar to a lot of the markets right now. I think basically it's gone up, took out its 2022 high. I'm thinking maybe here a little higher on the markets, but then that profit taking weakness, I think, is going to come in the next month or so. So I would not do this one. Nothing shouting out on that one. It is not reversed yet, though. Okay, on this one here. All right. So this one here, same type of thing. You've had the hook. All right. So the hook is something that when you have a hook like this, it's usually, see, you didn't really have a hook on this way up, right? The hook didn't really occur till here. So that's when the big fish come, right, and eat you because the market's getting ready to come down. So the hook represents the last move up, and it's a great way to kind of time a short trade if you see it. You don't want to get in near the hook, but I'm thinking that maybe we'll get one more little high on this because the PTFs are high, but that should be the end of the hook, and then we should see a move back down. So I would not, again, it's too late to go in, okay? This is, you're kind of chasing the market there. And that's XLF. Those are fun though. Okay, let's take a look at KMB. All right, so KMB, we got a red PTF on the weekly chart. We've got a green one on the 60-minute. So it looks like it's still going higher short term, but that should yield to selling long term. All right. You're still in an area here. You don't have enough profit potential on the 60-minute chart to make that trade worth it for the PTF scalp trade. So I would not do anything with this, okay, at this particular point. It's been interesting, okay? We've looked at a lot of stocks so far today, and we haven't come up with one buy yet, which is indicating to me that maybe the market is getting ready for that weakness that Bradley was talking about in the seasonal weakness that we're getting into right now. All right, this one, however, okay, is looking pretty good on the daily chart, okay, on the 60-minute chart, and that the momentum is positive there. Going against the pyramid here and against the owl here. All right, so what I'm looking at here is a couple things. Let me just draw a horizontal line over this high. Okay, so we haven't taken that high out yet. We have got a pyramid trading point entry. All right, I'd like it to take that high out for a buy. You could go in early here. I think probably the best you can count on for right now, unless this is a huge change in trend, is probably 211 to 231. And what are we at? 198. And if we clear this line here, we're going to have to get above 199.91. So, and your stop's got to go at least, now pyramid's going to be too far for 2 to 1. That's even going to be, again, it's not shouting out as a great trade right now. Try ADM. All right, so we got red PTF on the weekly, red on the daily. We may fill that gap a little bit, but more lows should come, okay? So no go on that one. All right, back to Jim here. Meta. All right, nice gap up on Meta, right? All right, so Meta is going. All right, the pyramids had you long already, okay? So, you know, if your stop was under any one of these pyramids on any of the chart, you would have taken advantage of this move to the upside. You've got green PTFs on all the time frames, so stay long, okay? No reason to get out of this trade. No reason to move the stop up. Keep the stop. It's going to probably fill the gap, but it could go higher quite a bit before doing it. So wait for the PTFs to turn yellow before scaling out some, okay? Keep your stop at this pyramid here. That's what I would recommend. That is basically a low of 358.61. This pyramid is going to be a little closer on the 60-minute chart at 389.11. That should hold you in there too. So either one of those should do pretty well, okay? But stay with it. It looks like it's still going up. If you're not in it, again, okay, you're getting in a little bit on the late side of this run, but it should make more highs, okay? I'm not going to put this down as a buy. This would have been one that would have been great if you were already in it. All right, Amazon, let's take a look at it. AMZN, same type of thing, okay? If you were already in this, okay, on the daily chart, your pyramid should be right here, okay? Right there. Your target's coming up at 185 to 247. I would not go into this now. All right, it's almost already at the target. All right, you're at 172. So wait for a pullback to go into it. But if you're in it already, just enjoy the ride. MSFT. All right. Microsoft is in its target on the daily chart. Looks like it's going to go higher. Green PTF here. So you want to hold it. Stop can be right here on this pyramid, right around 366.49. Once another high comes, if this turns yellow, go ahead and start ratcheting a stop up for a scale out position, okay? Because you're getting near a pretty decent top here. Short-term top. All right, that's Microsoft. All right, Ellen, how are you? Okay, GLW. GLW. All right, so red PTF here. That makes me a little concerned. All right, short term looks like you're going to go higher. Long term, what we're seeing here based off the PTF here is that any move up is basically considered a correction or profit taking in the opposite direction of what you would think of in a long trade. So this is shorts covering. So it looks like we're going to go above 34 again, or around 34. Okay, this one's pretty much the same, 33.87. So that's kind of interesting. I could see a scalp trade here once this turns green over here. I put your stop here. If you can get in here, there's your risk. And then you've got maybe 3 to 1 till you get to the top. So that's worth a short-term, maybe 10-day long trade, maybe less. But wait for this to go green. We just want to make sure that this bottom here holds, okay? And it may slide down a little further. So this going green will help us a lot to confirm that. But that's a possibility. I wish I could put that on a short-term buy list, but I'm not going to do it until that turns green. All right, Frank, IWM. This is Frank's favorite. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, let's open up IWM here. See what's cooking. All right, so as you can see, you get quite a bit of movement here. You got quite a few green pyramids on the move up. And now you've come really in an area where it's been back and forth, really since 2022, right? All right, so it seems like now it's moved up. It's taken out its recent high back in 2023. And that's bullish, okay? We got bullish here, nothing red. That's a good indicator. All right, we had a pullback. We kind of thought that was coming, which is why we drew these retracement lines on these shorter time frames. So that's a good thing. So on this here, we got a red PTF that formed recently. So if you're in it now, keep your stop down here, okay? If you're thinking of going in it, wait for this to turn yellow because it looks like it's going to slide down into the target zone, all right, again. Hopefully this bottom will hold. Okay, so I would not jump into it now. Wait, why don't you wait and let's see that PTF go away on the 60-minute chart on that. Okay, but to me, it looks like this probably is getting ready for another cycle to the upside. Okay, you could go short again. Frank's actually expanding on this. Coverage short with nice profit, looking to go short again. If you're going to go short, use the 60-minute chart. And when we get back down to the target zone, I'd probably think about covering that, okay? All right, Jim, we'll take that into consideration for next time. Jim, looks like there's some concern on people's name covering the indicators. I get that. All right, so maybe we'll just stop. Maybe I could just stop. I think I could move those down, but I don't think it would eliminate the problem. So I think maybe what we'll do is just stop showing people's names. We could do that. I'll do that next time. All right, Alexander, XOM. All right, so let's see what we got here. Long here. All right. So let's see what we got here. You are long here. Well, you got the PTF on the 60-minute time frame in your favor for a long trade on this one. The only thing is ExxonMobil longer term might need to come down a little further, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so I think if you're long, you can certainly hold it for now because you have at least the 60-minute time frame agreeing with your position. Just keep an eye on it. If you start to see some weakness come in after the next high, if you get above, let's see, if you get above 104.88, you can start to bring those stops a little closer, okay? Just in case you get a reversal on that one. All right, DVN, let's see about that one. All right, DVN, you've got a long PTF here. So here's a great example on the PTF. All right, people will say, why is the PTF green, but the market's sliding down? So when they say that, it's because they don't really understand what the PTF is doing. The PTF is indicating that this high is not the final high, that any move down off the high that the PTF says is not the final high is a profit-taking wave, okay? So the PTF does not know how deep or how long the profit-taking wave is going to be. So the next thing you have to do is you have to use other forms of analysis to determine when the move down is over. You know, and of course we use the ART system and all our indicators and Elliott wave and fib retracements to kind of get an idea on when a profit-taking move should end. So that's kind of that's how you kind of got to approach it there. Let me just open up this chart here. All right, so this is definitely an impulsive wave of some degree. All right, and with this green here, this is indicating that this move down is profit taking, so maybe a wave 4 or something like that. And then you're going to have another move up. So that's basically the way it looks. All right, now the next question is, when's the profit taking over? Well, to answer that question, go and grab some drawing tools. And the first one we like to use is the fib retracement. Now, I draw the fib retracements differently, and I have a whole course on this because this line here has a 70% accuracy rate of retracement levels on a wave 4. So if this is a 3, then we're in the wave 4 target zone. So that's a good sign. But now some of our other tools are indicating, okay, but we have a red pyramid here and we have a red owl here. So the bullishness has not yet returned. Okay, all right, so that's good to know. So I'm looking for a long trade because of the potential of the PTF and the Elliott wave count makes sense. All right, so how do I know when this move is down, is over? All right, well, we like to have prices get above the pyramid for one thing. We'd like to have this ideally turn to green, right? All right, but let's see if we can get in as early as possible using some of the other time frames. All right, so let's go to the next chart, the center, the daily chart. All right, well, you can certainly see by price activity alone, we don't really yet have a change in trend. We have lower lows and lower highs, right? So the trend is still down based on that. So you don't, even though the PTF is green on the weekly chart, showing we should get more highs, we need to have a turnaround in price. Okay, always follow price. Price is a key thing. All right, so you know our PTF is giving us an opinion. Our Elliott wave forecast is giving us an opinion. Our overall thought on what the next move is an opinion based on all these tools. But price action, all right, dictates everything. And so we don't want to go long until the price action changes. And so far, it has not changed. Okay. So we want to wait for this thing to turn around and head back up. Okay. So this would be a good one for a watch list because it might be close to doing that. And as soon as it does, I would say that's going to be a great buy. Okay. So I'm liking this one. So Alexander, that's a good one, but just give it a little more time. Okay. Let's take a look at DWAC. All right. Not much history on this one. It's definitely perked up quite a bit. You can see that over there. All right, you can see it here. You've got a green pyramid. You've got a lot of green here. All right, so what do? Well, this thing, boy, it's tough to know exactly where this thing is going to go because there's just not that much history in the weekly chart to get a really good Elliott wave count. Let me see if this helps. Not too much. I mean, it's bottomed. Maybe it's beginning a new trend. So the only trade I see here based on my tools is what I call the PTF trade. So again, this has a 75% accuracy that we will eventually get above here. And it's basically on all 3 time frames. So that's pretty good. All right. Then the next question is there a trade here? Well, price is at 39 and the PTF is indicating we'll get above this price bar here, which is 54.60. That's pretty good. All right, that's a decent amount of profit possibility. All right, then the next question is, where's your stop going to go? Because, you know, the PTF could be right, but if your stop's so close, you'll get stopped out of the trade, and then maybe it'll go. Then the PTF's right, but the trade failed. So stop loss placement becomes everything. And when people take PTF trades, that's the hardest part for them to hammer down is where to put the stop. So in a case like this, I would want to put my stop as far back as I could to try to at least maintain a 2-to-1 risk to reward. Ideally, what I would like to do is put this stop under this pyramid here. All right. So there's the distance here. So if we're trying to go up here, guess what? I got 2-to-1, don't I? So that's one I can take. That one's going to go immediately on the watch list for a PTF trade. And that's going to be based off the 60-minute time frame. So I'm liking that one. Okay. So that's an immediate trade you could take based off this. Just check with your financial advisor. Okay. Make sure that's suitable for you. Now, this is a short-term trade. So that's a 60-minute chart. This is not going to take that long, or it shouldn't, to get up there. Sometimes these things go sideways and it takes longer than we think, but you could be up in that area in a matter of a week. Okay. So the PTF trade looks really good there. All right, Al, let's see what we got cooking here. DAR. DAR. So Alexander, good job. Alexander, that's the only winner for today. Okay. So far. All right, DAR. All right, long. No, not yet. Not with the PTF red on those 2 time frames. All right, let's take a look at HASI. Got a second to load. All right. Okay. Okay, we go back to what, 2000, is it 14 on this stock? All right, big move down, just made a fairly low, multi-year low right here. Okay. Green PTF here, red PTF here. All right, so what do you do when the PTFs are different colors? All right, gee, this looks like it'd be a good trade maybe up here. There's your 2 to, I got maybe 3-to-1 risk to reward, right? Problem is we want this to be green, so we can't go in here. This is still red and red here, so it's indicating it's going to come down more before it goes up. So this bottom, according to this chart here, all right, is not a bottom. But this is going to go down and then pull back up. So this is a classic example of if you were looking just at this time frame and you did a PTF trade, you'd probably want to put your stop here. Well, there's a chance, high probability chance this would not be successful because of your stop loss placement based on the fact that the information we have from the 60-minute chart indicating that that's probably not going to hold. This is why I like to use multiple time frame analysis. So chances are we're going to go down here, make a new bottom. If this turns yellow and goes neutral, then we start moving up and this turns green, then that might be quite a good trade, PTF trade. All right. So we can put this one on a watch list for a possible PTF trade. So let's take a look at that one next week. Okay. All right. And CTBI. Let's take a look at that bad boy. All right. Red PTF, red PTF, red PTF. No long. Okay. And I don't think there's enough risk to reward for a short either at this particular point. So I would just pass on that. All right. Thank you, Al. Al's got one more snap. That's in AP. All right. Snap is coming off a bottom. I like that. I like the weekly chart on that. Coming off a bottom, big move up, big move down. The only Elliott wave count that you possibly could get on this is that 1, 2, starting into 3, possibly a big trend. All right. There are more exotic counts, but that basically is a possible one. All right. So you got green PTF there, but you got a red PTF on the 60. So it looks like it's going to go into a correction. So I'm thinking here, Al, what we do is take a look at this one next week. Let me just see where I think this would be appropriate. So I'm thinking prices have got to go down into this area here before we think about a long trade. Okay. If anything, you could maybe even short it. Okay. So that's a possibility. But I even would wait until pricing on the 60-minute chart. Let's wait until we get a price bar below this possible bar up here. Let's see what happens with that on Monday. All right. So I wouldn't short it just out of the blue here, but I would wait to see if prices start to move back down. Okay, that's snap. And then that could be a short. All right, let's see what else we got out there. Gene's saying, give us a thumbs up. Yep, and like, okay. All right. I think I got them all. If I missed anybody, let me know, okay? Let me know. All right, great session today. How long have we been on for? 1 hour and 9 minutes. That's not too bad. Okay, really good. So let's recap, okay? The one I see today, the only one is DWAC, and it's actually almost like a scalp trade using the PTF on the 60-minute time frame. So since we only got one, let me put that one back up and take a look and see. Give me a second. All right, so that's mainly focusing off here, this time frame here, okay? So we kind of want to use that lower pyramid here, and the profit, the target is going to be here, okay? Stop will be here, all right? And there's your 2 to 1, if not a little more, right? If you want to try to put your stop here, just do the calculations to see if you still have a 2 to 1. You might actually, right? Okay, that would be even more secure, but a lower trade size. Okay, so I'll let you determine how you want to play that. But that's the only one we found, which is unusual. Normally we have a handful, right? So that's kind of indicating to me we may be getting in a scenario where kind of the stocks are due for a pullback. All right, let's take a look at one more SBUX for Alexander here. Okay, so you're watching this for a short trade. All right. No short trade with this PTF green on the 60-minute. I would not do anything with that. Been green for quite some time. All right. So I would just hold off on this one. Okay, your other one, DWAC, is much better. All right. So kudos to Alexander for DWAC. All right, on the watch list, we got VNRX. So bring these back. Whoever is responsible for these, I didn't write the names down, but bring these back next week for us. So VNRX, USO, SCO, coin, COIN, DVN, HASI as a PTF possibility. The cryptos, I think, a little bit further down the cryptos, but then I think probably they'll be a good buy again. Okay, so let's not let those get away from us. Okay, that's really important. All right, well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you back here next Friday. Have a wonderful week. I'll put up some day trading time frames. You know, we run a day trading room, so we do the exact same analysis. The only difference is we use really short time frames. For example, this is the 15-second, which seems short, but really it's not that short. This is the 1 minute, and then this is the 5 minutes. So our software works on all time frames and all markets because it's taking advantage of the fractal symmetry across the different time frames and markets. So basically, we look for trends in the intraday markets as they unfold. And certainly we see some PTF scalps as well. This is the MES, which is the micro E-mini on the March 24 contract. But we also trade other ones here. This one, NG, thanks to Jim Blue, who's out there today. This was one of his favorites, and we like that one too, right, Jim? That's the NG contract. And then also too, the M&Q is out there. Notice nice big run-ups there. We got the micro E-mini Dow. All right. And just like on the stocks, sometimes these look good and sometimes we have to wait it out a while. The only difference is we normally don't have to wait it out that long as compared to a position trade, right? All right. And then the gold market is another one that we take a look at. And crude oil is a fun one too. All right. And I'll just leave it on the MES here for now. It looks like it's getting ready to correct, come down a little bit. All right. So I will end the room very soon. Oh, I got a couple more. Hold on. Let me come back over here and let's see what we got. Al has got VK, TX, and then Frank, I'll get to yours as well. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right, so let me just do this one. Okay, so this is one we kind of looked at last week, and we expected it to hit the target, and lo and behold, that's exactly what it's doing. All right, so this is one where we had a nice move down here. All right, 3, 4, and now it's in a 5. Probably just finished a wave 3 inside of 5 because that's 3 now, but it's not as high as this one. So that's the major 3. This is the 3 inside the 5, and probably one more leg up. Okay, but it's looking pretty good. So when this PTF from the weekly time frame goes yellow, start thinking about taking profits. Okay, so that looks good. It's not one for now. Okay, it's too late to get in now. It's already at the target. All right, Frank, TLT. TLT is the ETF for bonds. Okay. And it's starting to move up, but we've still got this pesky green, red PTF on the weekly chart, which is keeping me from going long. However, if you wanted to take a correction trade, it probably will get up to 110 to 127 before it falters again. But, you know, this is why I listen to the PTFs, because here's an example where, you know, this was a possible bottom, but the PTF was red. So the market went up, profit taking, and then boom, went down. So doesn't mean you can't make money on the profit taking, but realize that's all it could be. And then it could fail again. So it failed again, turned it yellow, which is good, but then this turned back to red. So this is showing that we could get up into this area, but then if this stays red, all right, then it could come back down. Now, if by chance, you know, it's wrong 25% of the time. So if by chance it's wrong and turns green, well, then I'll change my stance on it. And then I'll look for a long trade. But for right now, the only trade could have been to this target zone to the long side, and that's it. Okay, so that's TLT. So I don't think, Frank, that TLT is changing long-term yet. Okay. Again, if that indicator changes, then I'll change my tune as well. All right. Thank you, everybody. Okay. I appreciate everybody being here. All right, I'll put it back on that day trading time frame. I'll put some music on, and then I got it in the room. Okay. All right. So have a good one, and we'll see you back here next week. Thanks so much.